Kamala Harris was in Detroit today announcing a $100 million investment into the nation's auto parts manufacturers.
The money will be used to help suppliers make the switch from combustible engine parts to support the transition to electric vehicles.
So joining us once again to break down what this could mean for the future of EVs and also for Detroit is Paul Eisenstein, editor-in-chief of Headlight.News. Thanks for being here.
Good to be with you.
Good to see you, Paul. So we have spoken a lot in the past about this transition to EVs and how it's been slower than many had hoped, although we have to say the sales are still growing. They're just not growing as fast as they were a couple of years ago. So what do you think about this investment? Will this help move things back in that direction?
Anything that will help improve the job situation and address the cost situation with EVs is a step forward. This is critical for one thing. You need to have the skilled workers who can handle the job. This is a very, very different type of technology from what people have been used to. UAW workers are going to have to learn how to work very differently. In many ways, they're going to have to learn very much more modern manufacturing technologies. They'll have to learn how to deal with quality control at a level that they've never done before. And so it's actually two grants that are being provided here. And these are aimed at suppliers, not at the big automakers. They've already been getting some help from the federal government. But these are all the suppliers that make up a good portion of the job base here in Michigan. And they supply not only the Detroit automakers, but in many cases supply a lot of the foreign-owned transplants based around the United States.
Yeah, it's a bit of a heavy lift getting the majority of the country to get on board with such a drastic change and transition. With Detroit being known as the Motor City, is there significance with that starting here?
Actually, if you think about it, the word is correct, Motor City rather than engines. Gas engines, we're moving to electric motors. So maybe we knew something when we named the city the Motor City years ago. The transition is going to be tough, but it is moving in the right direction. You know, there's been a lot of misleading coverage, and you guys have been great at making sure you get it spot on. EV sales are continuing to grow. They grew 800% between 2019 and 2023. They're going to grow. Right now, it's on pace for about 25 to 30% this year. About 1 in 10 vehicles sold in the United States this year will be all electric, and another 1 in 10 will be hybrid. So the direction is definitely, we're seeing everything move in the direction of electrification, and it will continue to grow year by year by year. But this sort of program, which will provide about $100 million, is going to be critical to make that transition go more smoothly than it has been so far.
So, Paul, how might this trickle down to consumers themselves? I mean, would this investment in any way reduce costs for consumers eventually and kind of help that public sentiment transition as well?
This and a lot of other things that are going on right now will all help to bring down the costs of EVs. We know that the price of battery technology has already fallen, and it probably will drop by half over the next couple of years. What's even more important is that not only will the price of batteries drop, but the batteries will get better. In fact, here's one other thing that I'd like to mention. We just heard the other day from Polestar, that's a spinoff from Volvo, that they're testing a new battery that will be capable of getting an 80% charge in as little as 10 minutes. In other words, one of the other big obstacles to popular adoption of EVs, the long charging time, is already being broken down. This basically will mean if this goes into production, and it looks like it will, we're going to be seeing that people will be able to pull up to an EV charger and charge up about as fast as they do getting their gas tank filled today.
How much confidence does this kind of boost add for the industry as a whole?
Well, anytime they get some assistance from the feds, when it comes to the transition to electrification, it certainly boosts the confidence of the industry, but it also reaches out to consumers. We're seeing the Biden administration put something like, $7 billion into developing an infrastructure to charge around the country. So all these steps, one by one by one, will help make EVs more attractive, more affordable, easier to charge, longer range, and so on.
All right, Paul Eisenstein, editor-in-chief of Headlight.News. As always, thank you for joining us, and I understand it is your birthday, Paul, so happy birthday, and thank you especially for sharing
Thank
it with
you.
us.
Appreciate it.